Today, we're taking a first look at the New Balance Fresh Foam Zante Pursuit. 5.4 miles, 8 minutes, 52 miles today in the New Balance Fresh Foam Zante Pursuit. That's quite a mouthful, so many words in the name of the shoe. Not sure why there's quite so many. You guys have some absolute hawkeyes. I previewed this shoe in a very, very quick way in my Instagram story and on the video about Runaway Fitness, because that was actually the first time that I ran with them there, and I think that they may have been on frames a very short amount of time, just a quick flash. I didn't really intend to have them in the video at all. They just happened to get in the video, but you guys saw them and have already been asking me about them, and I wanted to talk about them then, but it turned out that wearing a brand new shoe on a brand new treadmill that I'd never been on before was probably not a great way to get a feel for a shoe, just because there was too many kind of moving parts, too many new things going on. So I wanted to make sure I get them on an outdoor run. I took them on my run commute today, and this is probably not the best shoe to take on a wintry day. We had freezing rain all day. By the time I was run commuting home, precipitation had ended, but there were still some very slick spots. Part of the Chicago Riverwalk, connecting the Riverwalk to the Lakefront Shell, still closed down, so I had to go around and take an alternate route to get home. And this thing was pretty slippery. It's got an all rubber outsole that looks beautiful, and it's an interesting pattern, but this is extremely slick. Now, we had freezing rain and super slushy conditions. I think any shoe that I would have run in would have been having a little bit of difficulty. The day before, I ran in the Ghost 11 GTX, and that's got some gnarly treads on it. And even in that shoe, I still had problems that day as well, running very much the identical route. So it's not saying that this is a bad shoe or a slippery shoe. Definitely not a winter shoe. And another reason for that is the upper. This is one of the more breathable uppers that I've encountered in a very long time. And the material that's on here is super, super thin. You can really see where your toes are, and as you wiggle your toes, you can see them kind of not pushing through, but pushing up against the material. So if you're looking for a very light, thin, sock-like feel, this is definitely gonna fit that bill. The other thing about this shoe is that it seems to be very long and narrow, and so the way that my foot is shaped, I don't think I have a wide foot, but my pinky toes on the outside of each foot were definitely kind of like, I could see where they were, and they weren't following the exact silhouette or curvature of the shoe. I probably wouldn't have noticed that with a thicker material upper, but because this stuff is so thin and so stretchy, I definitely noticed it. I don't know that it'll be a longevity problem, but I think if you're the type of person that normally wears through shoes, not on the outsole, but on the upper and in that toe area, it might be something to check out and be concerned about before you actually buy the shoe. In terms of the overall construction, it's a 6mm heel drop, so a little bit different than what I normally run in, and we've got fresh foam in the midsole. This shoe, the real story though for me is in the thickness and the amount of the fresh foam that there's in here, and also in the forefoot, because this shoe has a little bit of a toe off. So there's been a couple of shoes that I've come across in the last year that have that distinct feeling where you're standing on the edge of a stair, and at a certain point in the stride, it feels like you're just dropping off the edge of that stair. So I've seen that in the Zoom Fly knit. I've seen it in the Vaporfly, and I've also seen it in the Hoka Clifton 1, the 2018 re-release. All those shoes kind of have that same feel to it, and I definitely feel it in here. And it's something that I noticed even in walking around, and in running I also felt it there too, because this shoe definitely wants you to go a little bit faster. It rewards you for being from your midfoot to your toes. So when you're in that section that's in that toe off, that's where the shoe really rewards you. There isn't a lot of cushioning in the heel, or at least I didn't feel it. So at slower paces or times when I had to run a little bit slower because of the ice, and I was running more heel toe rather than from the toe forward, I definitely felt a little bit uncomfortable in the heel. And so it's like the exact opposite of the Brooks Ghost 11 GTX that I ran in the day before, where that shoe has just a huge crash pad, so you can land on your heels as you're running through some of the more slippery stuff, or if that's just your running style. This is very different, and so I'm not sure that this is a shoe that I would want to take with me on my longer, more relaxed runs. There I'd probably reach for the Vomero or the Beacon, which is also from New Balance, because that has a little bit more protection in the heel. This one is a kind of shoe that it doesn't really want you to be on the heels at all. It really wants you to be in that forefoot. Anytime that I wasn't, I felt like the shoe was fighting me, and not from it was trying to guide my foot strike, but just it didn't feel right when I wasn't running at a moderate pace or trying to move a little bit faster than that. So I tried to move through a couple of different paces while I was on the run today. And this thing just definitely prefers to be moving faster. It likes it when you're working harder. When I was running with it on the treadmill, I ran on a variety of paces. Everything from 6 miles per hour was about 10-minute miles for some of my recovery paces, up to 11 miles per hour, which I think is in the 5-minute mile paces, high fives. And so that was something that this shoe did really well in. There was a brief moment where I had a hot spot in the right shoe when I was on the treadmill at that 11 miles per hour, but it went away really, really quickly. So I don't think that this is going to be a problem with having hot spots. I think that's just more me not being accustomed to running at that speed. So all in all, I think this is a really great shoe. There's two other shoes that it reminds me, because it's so lightweight and because there isn't a lot of stack height in this shoe, it definitely reminded me a lot of the Kinvara as I was running around today. Again, because it rewards you for being a little bit more on your toes. It prefers to be in that moderate to moderate hard pace effort as you're running. But unlike the Kinvara that has that little hint of stability in the arch, this doesn't have that. So if you're a neutral runner that wants fast and light, but the Kinvara wasn't a good fit for you because of that hint of stability that Saucony always likes to throw in their shoes, this I think is going to be a really good option. And at $110, it's quite a bargain. Definitely worth the money for this shoe. The other shoe that that I wanted to compare this to, because of the outsole, it's got that kind of clear rubber outsole, is the Epic React, and it definitely reminded me of that too, but kind of like a stripped down Epic React. It wasn't quite as cushioned and bouncy as the Epic React is, but I definitely had that feel. A lot of that coming from the foot feel in the upper and not a lot of padding in the heel area, and a lot of that was the aesthetics of the shoe. So a lot like the Epic React, definitely something that very comfortable taking into the gym, wearing around casually, and also taking for a run. So definitely like the look of this shoe, although this particular pattern that's on the upper here, I'm not a huge fan of. I do like the black. I like kind of what's going on with the pattern of the material on the heel. But the rest of the shoe, like the lines and dots, it just kind of looks a little bit off to me. So not my favorite design in terms of the upper, but the overall silhouette of the shoe, the feel of it, how lightweight it is, feels really great. Now, the other thing that I was thinking about was the New Balance Beacon, which is something that I encountered just a short while ago, definitely late to the party on that shoe. And I was hoping for some of the same matching in that shoe. And I remember running in the Beacons and thinking when you got on the toes in that shoe, and it was also a fresh foam shoe, There was something really springy in there that I really enjoyed, and I was hoping to have that feel all throughout the midsole in this shoe, since this shoe is, I think, intended to go a little bit faster than you are supposed to go in the beacons. But I didn't quite feel that, and from the comments that I had in the couple of New Balance beacon videos that I made, you guys have been telling me that not all fresh foam is created equal, that the fresh foam feels different per shoe, and I definitely got the sense here. I didn't quite get the springiness that I felt when I'm on my toes in the beacon. It was a little bit different. I don't know if it's because on the fresh foam beacon there is like etching or grooves in the midsole, whereas here, this is the design pattern that you're seeing is more of, this is what the mold looked like that they put or injected or extruded. I'm not sure exactly what the manufacturing process is, but when they put the EVA foam in it, this is the mold that it looked like. And so I don't know if like those kind of cutaways or notches that they put in the foam is what makes the big difference there, or if it's a different formulation of fresh foam. There's a different mixture in terms of the different ingredients and ratios of different products that go into it that makes it more or less bouncy, more or less springy. Overall, I think that this is a bit more of a responsive shoe. You're not as much cushioning, but you're getting a lot more road feel. You're feeling a lot more bang for your buck in the push-off because you're not sinking into it. Not that I really felt like I was sinking into the New Balance Beacon, but in terms of like a cushion versus responsiveness kind of trade-off, this is definitely on the more responsive end, and I look forward to bringing this on to the track for some track workouts. I think this is going to be right now one of the first shoes that I reach for when it comes to track workouts, because there's not a lot here and there's not a lot to get in between me and the track surface, which is itself springy and also responsive at the same time. And I look forward to taking this on some faster road runs where I can really take advantage of the benefit of the shoe, which I think is from like the toe forward. So in a lot of the same instances where I'll use the Zoom Fly Flyknit, for example, I think that this is going to be also another good option to try. So those are my thoughts on the New Balance Fresh Foam Zante Pursuit. I know a lot of you guys have been already trying this shoe as well, so let me know what you guys have thought about the shoe. I'd love to get your guys' input on it, or if you have any questions about the shoe, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'd love to talk to you guys down there. Now, before I go for today, I want to talk about today's charity runner for the day. And today's charity runner is Tom Collins, tcollins84 on Instagram. And he's going to be running the Chicago Marathon this year and raising money for the American Cancer Society. It's a giant charitable organization that has done so much great work for the advancements of cancer research and also providing support for people affected by cancer. And this year, Tom is running for his mom and dad, Richard Butler and Debbie Clodfelter, who have both been affected by cancer. He's especially dedicating his training this year, his entire training, and also his running of the race to his mom, Debbie. I've donated $10 to his cause, and I'll post a link in the description to his fundraising page in case you'd like to learn more. That's all I have for today. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
Yo, what's going on?